and 4 million company records. What really separates us is that our members are required to put complete data in, and we value them updating the records as much as we do actually putting the records in the first place. So we're able to then pipe not only the data, but more importantly, the changes in the data directly into our customers' containers, most notably, of course, CRM. We were bought by Salesforce back in May of this year, and in the largest acquisition they've ever done. And we're continuing to push the value of our data, helping customers be successful with the best quality data as a result.
And Jim, maybe I'll toss a follow-up question here. You know, you, in a lot of ways, I consider what Jigsaw has done to really be the founders of crowdsourcing in general. And so I'm always curious, who is your data good for? Is your data good for the small business guy who goes on there and swaps records, or is it really for the enterprise-level organization that's trying to have a map for their CRM audience? Like, who is it really ideal for?
Well, like Salesforce, we have customers across the map. So large customers like Computer Associates is a great example. Use our full file as well as several of our other services. But like many smaller companies, we started our early lives with both individuals in a crowdsourced way, small and medium businesses, and of course in the last few years we've graduated to selling to the largest companies in the world. We have partners like Dun & Bradstreet who actually also are a channel for us and our best partner. So we're across the board at this point.
And Sam, let me change gears a little bit. You guys have so much data. I mean, you mentioned that you're dealing with 50 million contacts. I would imagine there are certain sectors that you guys are very strong in, and when I say you guys, it may be you and Jigsaw Net Prospects as well, and there may be other categories that you're not. Are you as strong, for example, let's say in general business service contact data as you are in government records, or are there sectors where your model just...
Well, it's a great question, Jay, and I think the evolution of the company, and Jim said it well, with the success of the community contributed or crowdsourced model, which we were second player into, frankly, based on their success, but we do it differently through an automated means of using Outlook as a contact contributor to us, which has been phenomenally successful. The history of the company was always in web crawled data, and so you find that comprehensiveness of covering small, middle, and large-sized customers and companies to cover, and the people at those companies because of that web crawled history, which yes, business services, tech companies, anybody who has a web presence, pretty much every company out there today, it gives us the breadth and the comprehensiveness of the history of the business. But really where we do see some strength in the business and the growth has been in the small and mid-sized business market, which is very hard to cover for any one of us players in the industry. We have data that shows us 600,000 companies starting every year and about 500,000, 600,000 going out of business in this economy. You've got to stay up and fresh with that information. So that's an area where we really found strength from the tradition of web crawl data. And then as you said, Jay, areas like education, nonprofit, and government where they're typically exceptionally hard to find through a community source model, our web crawl data allows us to collect information that lots of players wouldn't collect because you're going after niche markets in those arenas. So we found that to be a strength recently as customers are saying, or companies are saying, let me get marketing tools to go reach the education sector, which is hard to find typically for companies like ours.
You're an interesting case because you got your foot in both areas in terms of crowdsourcing and crawling.
Yeah.
Do you find a different attrition rate, meaning a fall off in the accuracy of an address or in terms of the person changing their address in your crawling data that you gather versus your community data that you gather?
I think it's a really smart question. We are finding that the multi-source model that we use today, and the three sources for us are web-crawled, community-contributed, and user-generated, all serve to help each other in the process. So when you look at data and say, I can get to many, many companies and many people at those companies, the web-crawled model, and then the community contributed sort of adds a depth to that data by saying it's accurate as of yesterday because an email was sent from this person to another, and I've got that beacon to tell me the data is accurate as of yesterday. I now have strength in the record I might have gotten from the web because of one of the other sources that we use today, and that's our our goal here. We even go to find companies that may not have had a web presence we saw through our crawling capabilities through the community contributed model. Now we say, let's go after and crawl that site because we now have identified it through the community contributed model, and then we update our data. So they all serve to help each other in the process, and we think that's a differentiation for us that we've found much more helpful as we've evolved the business over the last couple of years.
That's really interesting. You know, Jim mentioned earlier on about the model copying the Wikipedia model, and Michael, I'm going to toss something over to you. I know that Net Prospects has been really successful with your the social media index, which, by the way, if people out there don't have, they should really check it out because their social media index has become an industry standard. Michael, what impact do the social networks have on your business? What data elements, perhaps, can we all start to look forward to being able to target by? And just overall, what does social media mean to crowdsourcers, to aggregators, to people that use data?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and one that we certainly use as a differentiator in trying to, most importantly, we're all doing this, we're mapping the sales process. And the sales process starts with the salesperson trying to find someone to contact about their product or service. And so it's our sort of key differentiator at the start was, let's make sure that the data is valid, first and foremost. And we had the benefit of being the third player in the market to see what some of the other guys were doing who are on this call and maybe be able to figure out a way to enrich the process. We focused on that because once we've come up with the process, which CleanStep, which allows us to verify the data's accuracy, then it opens up a wonderful opportunity to enrich the data further and make it closer, get it closer to a sales-ready lead. And if you look at what salespeople do now, once they've got that contact information, salespeople don't instantly pick up the phone and call their biggest prospect. They do is, because data is available beyond what we're all crawling for, you can go, salespeople go and they go on LinkedIn. Let me go check out this prospect. Let me see what I can learn to maybe become a little bit more, make my message resonate a little bit more. Where's my golden nugget to make me stand out and to be relevant? And so what we've done is map the process again and be able to, instead of a salesperson spending 45 seconds to a minute searching through the 750 Scott Gordons that are in LinkedIn to find the one that he wants, we can embed that just like it was on the business card with a URL directly to their LinkedIn profile. So now you can see that public information quickly. You can also get to Twitter and Facebook and a number of other social media networks where that user, that individual might be, and that's going to give you greater insight. It also helps you understand what their social graph looks like from an influence standpoint, which is critical, and that's big on the marketing side of the equation. So salespeople use it, right? They're using it to quickly go out there and get a sense for who this person is, what they're tweeting about, and what they might want to layer into their message. The marketers, the marketing teams who are using the social media that we're pending in and delivering to them, they're using it in a slightly different way. They're starting to, instead of just spray and pray approach from an email marketing standpoint, now they're looking at, boy, some people we might want to influence and connect with in a different way. Maybe you want to have a certain targeted market based on attributes such as the size and scope of someone's network. And look at how many people are following so-and-so on Twitter. And that can give you tremendous insights that we're really still at the early stages of understanding. But the key and most important thing is to start the process, and that starts with being able to get your arms around the data, which you can only do if it starts with being valid at its core.
So you're saying, just so I'm going to try to regurgitate that back to you, we can all now, we could take Michael Bird, and we could see Michael Bird has 300 Twitter followers, and he's the top dog over at Net Prospects, and I think I'm sending out a white paper or offer that I want to get distributed. I'm going to target people that have, over 200 Twitter followers in these industries with these titles because I think that they're an influencer. Is that basically what you're saying?
That's right. You may, for your business, you may see me in that way based on those, that criteria. You can also look at what I'm tweeting about to know about me personally. All stuff that you can do right now. You can go on Twitter and try to find me, except if it doesn't say @Michael Bird, or, well, I might be Bird123, and it's going to be difficult to find me and get to that information. So what we're trying to do is just accelerate the process by doing the matching for our customers, and to then allow them to go and get a sense for who these customers are. They're not just random contacts, which is kind of what they're getting right now from all of us. Random information. We wanted to enrich it, add some color, sort of, illuminate the room to this person and who they're about and where they work, what they look like, which can help you sell far more effectively.
That's a fantastic application. And Jim, I'm curious about your social view on things now. I mean, when you guys started, you said we want to be like Wikipedia. Well, you became like Wikipedia. And now the social map of the universe has changed quite a bit. And one of the things I'm curious about your view on, especially as you're obviously connected with Salesforce, everyone has their their business card information, where I got my World Data email address, and then they have their LinkedIn information, where I have it tied to a Gmail address because I don't want to miss anything, so to speak. How does that factor into the type, when somebody goes into their Salesforce and they see the Jigsaw data, there's that other hidden persona. I mean, how do you guys look at that? What's your view on your LinkedIn life versus your business life, if you will?
So first of all, let's make sure the listeners all understand that Jigsaw is 100% a B2B database. And what we mean by that is it's information that's on a business card, the 11 fields that you would find on a business card minus mobile numbers. We don't allow any mobile numbers in Jigsaw, and we don't allow any non-business email addresses. The good news is that every single record in Jigsaw has a phone number. Every single record has a business email address. So we're very clear about that separation, if you will. But what we also do, and for every business card record in Jigsaw, we have a link that will take you directly to someone's LinkedIn profile, someone's Facebook profile, a Google search, the ability to go and get progressively more information about a customer beyond the actual regular. So we view that it's a big, hard problem to solve, just getting the basic foundation stones of a direct marketing database, the account data and the contact data. There's still some work to be done, but the next frontier, of course, is really getting a lot of the social graph, if you will, of a person dialed in. So we're of course working on that as well.
So let me ask you another big picture question. So you guys, you coined the term in a lot of ways, graveyard data, meaning, and maybe you could define that for us before I even go any further. What do you guys mean when you say graveyard data?
So we've had a basic philosophy at Jigsaw from day one that the value isn't in the data. Data goes stale quickly, even faster and faster as people change jobs and titles and functions ever more rapidly. And we really believe that the long-term value wasn't the data itself, but it was in understanding the change in the data. And so the way that our model works is you have 1.6 million individuals who build and maintain this database, and they get compensated equally for adding a complete record, for updating a record, or for graveyarding a record. And never before has there been an ability to go in any kind of scale and figure out that, hey, these are dead records. And your listeners understand better than anyone how expensive it is to touch a dead record. Of course, we understand the hard cost of a direct mail bounce, but there's very ugly costs from a deliverability standpoint for delivering dead email. And of course, the most expensive type of dead touch would be to call someone, either as a salesperson, a recruiter, or marketer, and say, hey, is John Doe there? And then get the answer that, excuse me, but John's been gone for 90 days. Those are ugly conversations to have. So what we do is we pipe in that to our customers' databases and explain in real time that, hey, this is a dead record. You don't want it off of your direct marketing data list, but you definitely want to know that that's a dead record or that it's changed.
So, to that end, I think about the DMA did something back in the 70s where they started their mail preference service, where anybody who didn't want to get, prospect direct mail solicitations could sign up with the Direct Marketing Association's Pander service, if you will, saying, I don't want to get mail. And every major service bureau will apply this do not mail file before campaigns go out and whatnot. And the reason I bring that up is that I would imagine that your graveyard data and ZoomInfo's graveyard data and the prospect's graveyard data is all valuable to each other. And I know maybe it's a unique selling proposition, but wouldn't it be, and maybe I'm off in saying this, but wouldn't it be beneficial to have the industry somehow pool these dead records so that way organizations and yourself